Please, we will listen to the Laz-Circassian Civil Society Network presentation. So, I'm Karina Vamling, and I am co-director of the research platform Russia, the Caucasus Regional Research at Malmö University.
Thank you. Thank you for having us today. It's a pleasure to be with you and talk about our project. I am Eylem Bostanci. I am the project coordinator of the Laz-Circassian Civil Society Network project. We were the main applicants to this project, European Union funded project, and we had to have a co-applicant. And we thought that it would be the best to have one South Caucasian language, Laz, and one North Caucasian language, Circassian. So now our co-applicant is İstanbul Caucasian Culture Association, and the project has started in July 2020, and it was a 3 years project. We're in the second year of the project, and I have a presentation, PowerPoint presentation, but before that, we were actually thinking if maybe Murat could talk a bit about the Circassian language, the status of Circassian language in Turkey, and Ismail could talk about the Laz language, and then I could introduce the project itself and what we're doing as a part of the project too. How's that for you?
Very good. Very good.
That's great. Thank you. In that case, let me speak to Murat now. Murat Bey, önce siz Çerkezce'den başlayın. Emir'de bahsettiğimiz gibi. Ben size tercümanlık yapayım. Sonra İsmail devam etsin. En sonunda ben alırım söz.
Yani genel olarak Çerkezce'nin Türkiye'deki durumundan bahsediyoruz.
Evet, yani Çerkezce'nin genel durumu. Doğru.
Şimdi katılımcılar genel olarak biliyordur. Türkiye'de Cumhuriyet dönemiyle birlikte Türkçe dışındaki diller üzerinde genel bir yasak vardı. Ta ki 2000 yılında Avrupa Birliği'ne uyum süreci başlayıncaya kadar.
Now, as the participants would know, may know, that until the start of the European Union regulations, there was a ban on Circassian and other endangered languages, spoken languages in academia and other parts.
2000 yılında yani bizim Çerkes diliyle ilgili faaliyetlerimiz esas olarak 2000'li yıllardan itibaren başladı. Anayasadaki ve yasalardaki buna yönelik yasaklar kaldırılınca.
Okay.
Yani bu kadar.
From 2020 onwards, there has been the ban on some law, some things have been lifted in the constitutional law. Therefore, our activities really started much from 2020 onwards. Evet. Söylemek istediğiniz başka bir şey var mı Murat Bey?
Bağlantı sorunu var ama nereden kaynaklanıyor bilmiyorum. Bende görüntü ve ses donuyor sürekli.
Siz donuyorsunuz.
Evet, neyse ben...
He says that he has a connection problem.
Neyse. Ben devam edeyim. Yani 2004'ten itibaren söylenebilir. Birincisi ilk olarak derneklerde, yani Türkiye'de sayıları bugün 100'e yaklaşan derneklerin birçoğunda Çerkesçe kurslar açılmaya başlandı.
From 2004 onwards, there are more than 100 associations, Circassian associations in Turkey, and Circassian language courses started in these associations from 2004'ten itibaren dediniz değil mi Murat Bey?
Evet.
From 2004 onwards.
Hemen hemen aynı yıllarda Türkiye'de resmi TRT kanalında, yani devletin televizyon kanalında yarım saatlik, 1 saatlik televizyon ve radyo yayınları da başladı aynı dönemde. Ama bu sonradan kaldırıldı. Bugün yok.
Okay. Around the same time, broadcasting of Circassian broadcasting has started in the Turkish national TV, and but at the moment, I mean, it lasted for about half an hour to 1 hour each day. But at the moment, there is no broadcasting of Circassian in the national TV. It has been lifted.
Sonraki önemli bir adım 2012-2013 öğretim yılında hükümet sürpriz bir şekilde ortaokullarda 4 yıl, 5, 6, 7 ve 8. sınıflarda seçmeli ders olarak haftada 2 saatlik bu dillerin öğretilmesine izin verdi.
The next important step was that from 2013 onwards, surprisingly, the Turkish government has actually put elective language courses at the secondary schools. Year 5, 6, 7, and 8 of secondary schools, so which made it possible for the Circassian language to be taught at secondary schools as elective lessons.
Sonra 2011 yılında ve 2012'de aynı yıllarda Türkiye'de 2 üniversitede, Düzce Üniversitesi'nde ve Kayseri'deki Erciyes Üniversitesi'nde Çerkes Dili ve Edebiyatı adıyla 2 bölüm açıldı. Sonra isimleri değiştirildi. Çerkes Dili ve Kültürü olarak.
Okay. 2013 yılına itibaren dediğiniz doğru mu?
Evet, 11'de ilk olarak açıldı.
2011.
Birkaç yıl
Ben
araydı.
bunları not edeyim de unutuyorum tarihleri. Tamam. From 2011 onwards, at 2 different universities in Turkey, Düzce University and also Kayseri Erciyes, doğru mu? Kayseri Erciyes Universities, courses have opened under the title of Circassian Language and Literature, but then the name of these courses have changed into Çerkes Kültür.
Dili ve Kültürü.
Çerkes
Language and Culture.
Yes, it has changed into Circassian Language and Culture.
Bunun dışında son bir şey de Türkiye'de
Finally,
halk eğitim merkezleri var. Yani bu
there
nasıl?
are public education centers in Turkey called as halk eğitim.
Bu merkezlerde de Türkçe
centers.
dışındaki bu dillerde kurs açılabiliyor.
It's possible to open courses in these centers.
Ancak
However,
bunlar dışında en büyük sorun
the biggest problem is
buralarda bu dili öğretecek öğretmen olmaması.
the problem is not having teachers to teach these languages at these centers.
Ve aynı şekilde yeterli eğitim materyali olmaması burada
Sufficient
sonra
education
söyleyeyim.
materials.
Çünkü Türkiye'deki Çerkesler büyük oranda dil kaybına uğradığı için
Because there's a great loss of Circassian language amongst the Circassians in Turkey.
Bu öğretimi yapılan bütün bu bahsettiğim yerlerde bir yabancı dil olarak öğretilmesi gerekiyor. Ancak Kafkasya'da ki hazırlanan
language should be taught as a foreign language at these centers, but in Caucasia,
orada üretilen materyaller kullanıyoruz genel olarak ve oradakiler yabancı dil olarak öğretmeye uygun şekilde hazırlanmamış.
Okay, and we generally use the materials prepared in Caucasia. However, these materials are not fit or appropriate to be taught as a foreign language, for this language to be taught as a foreign language.
Bu pandemiyle birlikte bütün dünyada olduğu gibi Türkiye'de de
rest of the world, also in Turkey,
yani online kurslar birden popüler olup yaygınlaşınca
online courses have become popular and
çok sayıda online dil kursu açma imkanı ortaya çıktı ve bu çok yaygın bir şekilde uygulandı.
It has been possible to open to have online Circassian languages and reach out to more people.
Burada avantaj da öğretmenlerin Kafkasya'dan olabilmesi ki Larissa da burada bu konuda en önde gelen etkinlikleri yapan hocalardan biri.
And it was the advantage was that was to have teachers from Caucasia, and Vanessa is one of the leading teachers for the teacher of Circassian.
Son olarak bir de tabii Türkiye'de bir alfabe tartışması yaşandı. Bugünlerde biraz dozu azalsa da. Bildiğiniz gibi Çerkesçe Kiril alfabesi ile yazılıyor.
As you know, Circassian is written with Kirill alphabet.
Ancak Türkiye'de bu çok bilinen ve yaygın bir alfabe değil.
Because this is not a known alphabet in Turkey.
Cümleyi bitirsin öyle.
Bu okullarda bu konuda çok yoğun tartışmalar yaşandı. Yani bir grup Latin alfabesini kullanarak Çerkesçe eğitim yapılması için birileri gibi şeyler Kafkasya'da kullanılan Kiril alfabesinin kullanılmasından yana karar verdiler.
Okay. So this has become a topic of debate now. A group of people argue that for the Circassian education in Turkey, the Latin-based alphabet should be used, and another group argue that the Kirill alphabet should be used.
Ancak Latin alfabesini savunanlar da kendileri bir dernek kurarak bunu savunmaya devam ettiler ve ediyorlar ve kendi hazırladıkları programı da Milli Eğitim Bakanlığı'na kabul ettirdiler.
Okay. Those people who argue for the Latin-based alphabet, they have established their own association, and they have actually presented their own curriculum to the Ministry of Turkish Ministry of Education.
Yani yapılan faaliyetler genel olarak böyle özetlenebilir.
The main, the activities can be summarized mainly, as I said.
Bunun dışında söylediğim gibi çok büyük oranda bir dil kaybı var. Yani artık yaşlıların konuştuğu dil haline gelmiş durumda Türkiye'de Çerkesçe.
I said the language is very much endangered, and it has become a language that's spoken mainly by the older people.
Ancak son yıllarda dili öğretmeye ve farkındalığını artırmaya yönelik artan ivmede bir etkinlikler olduğundan söyleyebiliriz ki projemizde buna küçük bir katkıda bulunuyor.
However, in the last few years, there has been an increased interest, especially from the young people, to learn Circassian, and I believe that our current project has an impact on this.
Benim söyleyeceklerim bu kadar. Sorular olursa da.
All I would like to say. So, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Dear Karina, can I to speak?
Yes, please, Murat.
It's great, of course, to hear from Circassians in Turkey. I congratulate Mr. Murat for this project. It's, of course, very important what you are making there in Turkey, and namely in Düzce University. But
Tebrik ederiz. Can I translate? Sorry. Tebrik ederim.
Excuse me.
Sorry. Murat Bey'i tebrik ederim diyor. Çerkezler hakkında bunları duymak çok güzel. Özellikle Düzce Üniversitesi'nde söyledikleriniz hakkındakiler çok iyi diyor. Buyurun. Yes.
Yes. And my question is, what you are going to do in other regions? Düzce is yes. Düzce University is very important for us. But in other places, what you are going, because we know many tribes, Circassian tribes, are living in Turkey and many other districts, and what is going there? Thank you.
Düzce Üniversitesi'nde olanlar çok güzel ama diğer bölgelerde ne olacak diyor. Çünkü diğer bölgelerde de yaşayan çok sayıda Çerkez var. Diğer bölgelerde ne olacak diyor. Düzce Üniversitesi'nin dışında yani.
Şimdi bu şehirlerdeki üniversitelerde açılmasının mantığı Çerkeslerin yoğun olduğu bölgeler olması. Ama yani üniversite sadece orada yaşayan Çerkeslere hitap etmiyor bölümler. Yani Türkiye'nin her yerinden insanlar bu bölümlerde okuyabilirler.
Tamam.
Benim
Çevireyim onu.
tamam, çeviri olsun.
Okay. Well, the purpose of having these courses is at these universities is that it is the areas where the largest Circassian population are located, but it just doesn't mean that because they at these universities, people from other areas of Turkey can study at these universities as well.
Bununla ilgili bir şey daha. Yani bence büyük şehirlerdeki üniversitelerde açılması daha iyi olurdu ama böyle karar verildi.
Would be better if we had the courses, Circassian courses at the universities in the big cities, but this is how it has been decided.
Samsun'da açılması için de bir teşebbüs vardı ancak üniversite senatosu bunu reddetti, kabul etmedi.
Well, there was an attempt for the course to be opened in Samsun University as well, but the university admin has rejected.
Son bir şey daha, biraz uzattım ama onu da bilgi vereyim. İki üniversitede, yani Kayseri Erciyes'te Kabardeyce üzerine, çünkü orada daha çok Kabardeyler yaşıyor. Düzce'de ise Adigeyce denilen Batı Çerkezcesi üzerine kurulmuş bölümler.
Okay. In Kayseri Erciyes University, Kabardey language is taught, and whereas in Düzce University, Adige, which is the West Circassian Circassian language is taught. Yes.
Thank you. But what we know the diversity of Circassian languages or dialects, but what kind of literature language of Circassian language they are fond of to teach or study?
They are, okay. Yani biz tabii Çerkez dilinin çeşitliliğini biliyoruz diyor ama hangi diyalekt, hangi türleri okutuluyor diyor. Demin aslında cevap.
And who are the specialists studying this learning, teaching and learning this language? Who is teachers? Who are teachers?
Bu dilleri kim öğretiyor diyor. Öğretmenler kim diyor.
Tamam, onunla ilgili bilgi vereyim. Şimdi Türkiye'de öğretilen Çerkesçe, Kafkasya'da resmi ya da yazı ve edebiyat dili olan dil. Yani Türkiye'deki konuşulan Çerkesçe esas olarak.
It's the same dialect that has a literature and literacy in Circassia.
Ve öğretmenler şu anda tamamen Kafkasya'dan gelen
all the
öğretmenler
teachers
öğretiyor.
are those who come from Caucasia.
Mira Hachemizova, as I remember.
Yeah, Mira Hachemizova, Rosanna, Чотири, наверное, Чотири преподавателя.
Сусанна Долева, Шхалакова, Сусанна.
Thank you. Good luck.
İyi şanslar.
We will have an opportunity to continue discussing after the presentation. So I'm sure we will get back with more questions.
Okay. So if there aren't any other questions, maybe we could proceed with Ismail. Okay.
Ben cümlemi bitireyim, ondan sonra açayım. Tamam mı?
Tamam, o zaman kısa şey.
Tamam, okey, karıştırın yani.
Tamam.
Tamam, ben başlayayım.
Okay, so can Ismail start?
Yes, of course. Yes, please.
Evet, böyle bir organizasyon düzenlediğiniz için teşekkür ederim öncelikle.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for organizing this webinar.
Lazca adı altında Türkiye'nin kuzeydoğusunda ve bu bölgeden göç etmiş olan özellikle Marmara bölgesine insanlar tarafından konuşulan bir dil.
Laz is spoken mainly in the northeast of Turkey and also by the people who have migrated to the Marmara region of Turkey.
1990'lara kadar bütün köylerde, Lazların yaşadığı bütün köylerde çocuklar dahil olmak üzere Lazca konuşuluyor.
Until 1990s, at all villages, everybody could speak Laz, including children.
Ancak 1990'lardan sonra özellikle eğitim sisteminde, Türkiye'deki eğitim sisteminde yapılan bazı değişiklikler Lazca'nın çocuklar tarafından konuşulması, köylerde konuşulması ve çocuklar tarafından konuşulmasına ciddi bir darbe vurdu.
However, from the 1990s onwards, especially due to some changes on the educational system in Turkey, there has been a major curve on the Laz language spoken by children.
Çünkü köylerdeki okulları kapattılar ve hepsini şehre taşıdılar.
Because they shut down the schools, primary schools at the villages, and they carried the primary school education to the town centers instead.
Aileler çocuklarıyla birlikte okutabilmek için hepsi şehir merkezine taşındı.
So therefore, families had to move to town centers with their children so that they could get education.
Ve köyler boşaldı. Özellikle kış aylarında neredeyse kimse yaşamıyor.
So therefore, especially in the winter months, villages are almost empty. Nobody lives there anymore.
Bunun dışında okula devam, orta ve yüksek öğrenime devam oranları 1990'lardan sonra çok fazla arttı ve Lazlar bu eğitim meselesine çok fazla önem veriyorlar eskiden.
On the other hand, the level of education received by the Laz people at the lycees, high school level and university level has increased significantly, and Laz people give much importance on education.
Zaten Murat'ın da bahsettiği gibi Türkiye'de Türkçe dışındaki dillerin kullanılması sistematik olarak engellenen, yani farklı şekillerde engellenen bir durumda. Asimilasyon politikaları uygulandı çok uzun yıllar.
And anyway, as Murat had mentioned earlier, the speaking of these languages, native languages, was banned or well, it was prevented in different ways, mainly due to assimilation policies.
Lazca ya da Türkiye'de tehlike altında bulunan diğer dillerin herhangi bir o dili konuşan insanlar içinde, çoğunluğu içinde herhangi bir maddi değeri yok. Bu Lazlar içinde böyle.
Well, neither Laz nor the other endangered languages in Turkey have any monetary value for the speakers of these languages.
Eğer adam olmak istiyorsanız,
if you want to be adam olmak, it's a very Turkish term. So
büyük
okay.
adam olmak istiyorsanız,
if you want to be a big man or great person, a great person,
important person, soldier, judge, teacher, doctor,
top level person,
top level,
then
you must speak Turkish very well. And the other point is you must not speak your own mother language. So everybody wants to herkes kendi çocuğunun büyük adam olmasını istiyor.
Because everybody wants their children to be top level great men,
Lazlar da bunu istiyor.
and so does the Laz.
Bundan dolayı da insanlar çoğunlukla, büyük çoğunlukla
So
artık
therefore, people mainly,
çocuklarına Lazca öğretmiyorlar.
the vast dominant section of the Laz population don't teach their children the Laz language any longer.
Karı koca kendi aralarında Lazca konuşuyor.
Husband and wife, for example, speaks. They speak Laz when they speak to each other,
Ama çocuklarına Türkçe
but
konuşuyor.
they speak Turkish to their children.
Çocuklar Lazca öğreniyor,
I mean, maybe children learn Laz,
but they don't speak
but
Laz.
they don't speak it.
Evet, günümüzde Lazca konuşabilen çocuk sayısı çok az ama var.
Currently, the number of children who can speak Laz is present. There are children who can speak the Laz language, but very little.
1990'lardan sonra
After the
yürütülen...
1990s,
Ya ben bitireyim cümlemi, ondan sonra çevirsin.
Tamam.
Böyle simultane yaparsam ben tökezlerim, konuşamam yani.
Evet.
Şimdi 1990'lardan sonra Lazca üzerine ve Lazlık üzerine yapılan çalışmaların yaygınlaşmasıyla Türkiye'de bu konuda bir bilinç oluşmaya başladı.
with the studies conducted on the Laz language disseminating, becoming more broader, the popularity of the Laz language has increased.
Artık insanlar Lazca'nın tehlike altında, yok olma tehlikesi altında bir dil olduğunun farkındalar ve herhangi bir sıradan insan bunu söylüyor.
Nowadays, people are aware that Laz is seriously endangered, and any person would say this.
Ama bu Lazca'nın yok oluşunu engellemiyor.
But this does not prevent the endangerment of the Laz language.
Şu an 30 yaş üstü hala pek çok insan Lazca konuşuyor. Yani Lazların yaşadığı şehir merkezlerinde, kasaba merkezlerinde, sokakta bu dili duymanız mümkün.
Currently, in the areas where the Laz population is great, it's possible to hear the Laz language spoken between people by the people who are aged 30 and over.
Buna karşı Türkiye'de Laz aydınları diyebileceğimiz genç bir kesim tarafından 30 yıldır çalışmalar yürütülüyor.
And also, studies are conducted by the people who we could consider as Laz intellectuals in the last 30 years.
Bu konuda çok başarılı işler yapıldığını söyleyebiliriz.
I can say that there have been some successful studies and were conducted in the area.
Başarı dediğimiz zaman hem yapılan işin Lazların kendisini etkilemesi ve Lazca konusunda bir farkındalık oluşturması gerekir.
When we say successful, it means that it would need to both affect the Laz population itself and also
Aynı zamanda
insan dediğimden sonra
yani Lazları etkilemesi ve Lazca konusunda bir farkındalık oluşturması.
okay, affect the Laz people and also raise consciousness regarding the Laz language.
Öte tarafta Lazca'nın Türkiye'deki bilinirliğini arttırması,
Also, on the other hand, also increasing the consciousness about the Laz language.
ve Türkiye'de bu konuda bir duyarlılık gelişmesi, özellikle sanatçılar, aydınlar, entelektüeller
And
arasında.
development of awareness regarding the Laz language, especially among the intellectuals, artists, etc.
Özellikle müzik alanında bu konuda büyük bir başarı yakalandığını söyleyebiliriz.
I can say that especially in the area of music, there has been important success.
Evet, müzik alanının dışında da 1990'ların başında bir tane bile Lazca yazılmış, hayır bir tane değil, bir cümle bile Lazca yazılmış çalışma, ürün yokken bugün artık 150-200 civarında Lazca kitap yayınlanmış durumda.
Whereas until the beginning of the 90s, there was not, forget about the book, but not even a sentence formed in the Laz language. At the moment, there are about 150 to 100 to 200 books written in Laz.
Milli Eğitim Bakanlığı'nın okullarında Çerkezce gibi Lazca da okutuluyor.
Laz is just like Circassian. Laz is taught as an elective language at the Ministry of Education affiliated schools in Turkey.
İlk kez Laz İskender Çitaşı'yı anarak tabii söylememiz gerekiyor.
Of course, we need to mention about İskender Çitaşı.
Çitaşı'nın Gürcistan'daki, Abazya'daki Lazca kitapları ve eğitiminden sonra
After the Laz books and education material written by İskender Çitaşı in Abkhazia,
Türkiye'de de Lazca ders kitapları yazıldı.
Laz study books have been written in Turkey.
Onları göstermek istiyorum.
These are one study book for each of the classes, year 5, 6, 7, and 8 of secondary school education. These have been prepared by the Laz Institute for the Turkish Ministry of Education.
Ve ilk Lazca sözlük 1150 sayfalık bir sözlük bu. Türkiye'de yazıldı.
And the ilk Laz.
Lazca sözlük.
Okay,
En kapsamlı Lazca
this is the
sözlük.
broadest Laz dictionary written so far. Bin kaç?
1150 sayfa.
It's 1,150 pages.
Ve yine Türkiye'de, Gürcistan'ı bilmiyorum ama Türkiye'deki ilk Lazca gramer kitabı.
This is the first Laz grammar book in Turkey,
2003'te yayınlandı.
which has been published in 2003.
Ve daha Lazca üzerine pek çok çalışma yürütüldü.
And there have been many other studies conducted on the Laz language. For example, this is a Laz stories book, and this is a Laz Sarpi area or dictionary.
Ana dilde yayıncılık yapan, daha doğrusu Lazca yayın yapan bir yayın evi var ve bu yayın evinin tek başına yayınladığı 80 kitap var.
We have a publishing house that publishes only in the Laz language, and it has so far published 80 books on the Laz language.
Laz adını taşıyan dernekler var.
There are associations that carry the name Laz.
Üniversitelerde Lazca, Laz dili ve edebiyatı gibi bölümler yok.
There is no Laz language and literature courses at the universities.
Ama iki üniversitede, Bilgi ve Boğaziçi üniversitelerinde seçmeli Lazca dersler okutuluyor.
But the Laz course, Laz language course is available as elective language, as an elective lesson at two universities, namely Boğaziçi University and İstanbul Bilgi University.
Ve 2021 yılında Laz Enstitüsü'nün açtığı kursa 350 başvuru yapıldı.
Okay, in 2021, in 2021, the Laz Institute has opened a Laz language course, and 350 people attended to the course.
9 sınıf açıldı
9 classes have been opened,
ve 9 Lazca öğretmeni tarafından dersler verildi.
and 9 Laz teachers have taught at the course.
Ve sosyal medyada olabildiğince güçlü bir şekilde Lazca üzerine aktivizm çalışmaları yürütülüyor.
And we are currently conducting activism studies on Laz through online.
Yaptığımız çalışmaların kardeş halk, Megrelleri de etkilediğini görüyoruz, biliyoruz.
We can see and we know that the studies that we are conducting also influenced our brothers migrants in Georgia.
Söylenebilecek çok fazla şey var
There-
elbette ama süre sınırlı ve dinlediğiniz için teşekkür ederim.
Of course, there are too many things to say, but of course, the duration is limited. So thank you very much for listening.
If you have question, I am
If you have
here.
questions, I'm here, he says.
Thank you so much. Perhaps we should take a short question here if anybody has a short question before we move forward when we have this sort of fresh in our minds. Any short question or comment before we continue?
Of course, dear Karina, I have the main question for me is to speak about Migrelian. It's very similar to each other, what is spoken in Mingrelia. But differences is growing in Laz direction. In Laz, we have so much huge dialects, and the difference between Lazian dialects are very strange. You remember, dear Karina, when our colleague from Lazistan coming from French and being in Batumi with you and with Mr. Rezo and with Mr. Omar Memishishi. Omar Memishishi is Lazian, was Lazian, you know, remember all of us. And this Lazian from Firtina region and Omar Memishishi from Hopa region had nothing and had problems explaining, and it was impossible, you remember, Karina, to communicate to each other with such Lazian dialects. And I was with Poniava Natia, who is also very fond in Lazian dialects. We were translating for Mr. Omar Memishishi from Lazian to Lazian. You remember, this is fact.
Lazca'dan Lazca'ya tercüme etmek zorunda kalmışlar.
Bana bir sorusu var.
Yes, from Firtina dialect to Hopi dialect.
Atina diyalektinden Hopi diyalektine.
Yes, they had not progress in communication, and Karina was trying to explain it in French, as I know. Yes, Karina.
Yes, we had a meeting.
It was a very strange situation, and we're sitting in Tbilisi. We are translating Lazian for Lazians.
Lazca'dan Lazca'ya tercüme ediliyordu.
And in this situation, dear Mr. Ismail, what dialect you are bringing for your handbooks and in teaching system?
Öğretmen,
What Lazian dialect?
Şimdi şunu söyleyebiliriz.
first of all, I can say this.
Bir dil içinde bir diyalekti merkezi olarak belirlemek 20. yüzyılda ulus devletlerin yaptığı bir uygulamaydı.
Determining one dialect as the main dialect was something that was done by the nation states 20. yüzyılda, in the 20th century.
Ve bunu gerçekleştirmek için ellerinde okul gibi ve diğer cezalandırma araçları mevcuttu.
To facilitate this, it was there was some punishment system imposed at schools and other places.
Ve demokrat olmak gibi bir dertleri de yoktu.
And they had no intention of being democrats.
Biz bir sivil toplum örgütüyüz
We are a non-government organization.
Ve bu yapının içinde Lazca'nın farklı şivelerini konuşan insanlar var.
And within the structure, within our structure, there are people who speak different dialects of Laz.
Ve her bir Laz kendi konuştuğu diyalektin çok orijinal ve çok değerli olduğunu düşünüyor. Bunu çok seviyor.
All Laz who speak different dialects consider the dialects to be very important and they love it.
Biz de aynı fikirdeyiz.
And we have yes, we agree with that.
Şiveler arasında kesinlikle ayrım yapmıyoruz ve herhangi birini merkezi olarak
We don't
belirlemiyoruz.
differentiate between the dialects and we don't put any of them into a center.
Kitap yazan insanlar, makale yazan insanlar istedikleri diyalekteki kendi diyaleklerinde genellikle yazabiliyorlar.
Those people who write any articles or books, they write in their own dialects.
Artık belli sayıya ulaşmaya başlayan Lazca okurlar da bunları okuyarak farklı şiveleri daha kolay anlamaya başlıyor.
And as people read each other's articles or books, and they have access to different dialects, they started understanding each other.
Lazca ders kitaplarında eğer bir kelimenin farklı versiyonları varsa, anlaşılmayacak düzeyde farklılık varsa onları da parantez içinde belirttik.
And in the Laz study books, if there are differences between dialects, what we do is we put them into brackets and we state them.
Gramerle ilgili farklılıkları da yine sayfanın altında bütün farklılıkları göstererek belirttik.
And also we showed the grammatical differences at the bottom of the page and we've explained them.
İkinci dil olarak öğrettiğimiz için çocuklara en basit formu öğretmeye çalışıyoruz.
As we teach the Laz language like a foreign language as a second language, we teach it in the most basic format.
Ve öğretmenleri kitaplardan faydalanma ama yine de istedikleri şiveyi öğretme konusunda serbestler.
And we encourage the teachers to benefit from the study books, but teach the dialects that they would like to teach them. Çok fark var mı yani diyalekler arasında?
Çok iyi Lazca bilen birisi 1-2 gün uğraşsa Hopa şivesini ya da diğer bir şiveyi çok rahat anlayabilir.
Somebody who can speak the Laz language fluently, if they sat down together, one from, for example, Atina dialect or Hopa dialect, if they speak to each other for 2 days, they'll start to understand each other quite easily.
Anlama ihtiyacı olanlar daha çok aydınlar oluyor. Bu işle uğraşan insanlar oluyor ve onlar için öğrenmek çok zor olmuyor.
Those people who feel the need of learning different dialects are generally intellectuals, and I mean for them it's not difficult to learn the differences between the dialects.
Lazca'daki bütün farklılıkları bir şans ve zenginlik olarak görüyoruz.
We see the differences between dialects of Laz as a chance, and we're lucky to have such diverse language.
Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, I know your experience, Mr. Ismail, with Mr. Professor Kojima, Bucaklişi Kojima grammar. It's a very good grammar, by the way, very short, but at that time, very important. Good illustrated, well illustrated and well done grammar, by the way, in English. And we translated it in Georgian, and we have it in Georgian also, you must know. But my second question is, what you are going to do with standard Laz, united Laz language? Are you going to make a literature Laz language in Turkey? What is the perspective of this point of view?
Yani resmi olarak standart bir Lazca oluşturma gibi bir çabanın içinde olamayız.
We can't be in an effort to establish a standard Laz language.
Çünkü bu Lazlar tarafından şiddetle reddedilen bir şey.
Because this is, I mean, the Laz people would be very much against that.
Ama şunu görüyoruz, Lazca yazan insanlar başkalarının da anlaması için daha anlaşılır, daha ortalama şeyler yazmaya çalışıyorlar ve bu Türkiye'de çalışmaların başladığı 30 yıllık süreç içinde aslında yeni bir yazı dilinin oluşmaya başladığını ve ilk nüvelerinin ortaya çıktığını söyleyebiliriz.
But I can say that those people who write in Laz make an attempt to write it in a way that everybody understands. And in the last 30 years, because there have been studies conducted, things written in Laz, we can see that it's becoming more standardized.
Özellikle Facebook ve diğer sosyal medya
Especially
ortamları buna
through
yardım
the
ediyor.
social media such as the Facebook.
Evet.
Excuse me, I have a question. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, my name is Dr. Michael Edmund. I work at the British Library. I'm the curator for Turkish collections. And I have a question for both Ismail Bey and Murat Bey. Just about, Ismail Bey mentioned the publication of Laz materials, of books and magazines, other written works. And I was wondering if there's a specific institute or a library devoted to the collection and dissemination of materials in Lazca, in Lazuri, and similarly, if there's one particular central location for collection of materials in Cherkess or other Cherkess languages.
Önce Murat söylesin.
Okay. Ben bir Türkçe'ye çevireyim. Şimdi beyefendi İngiltere'deki British Library'den diyor ki bir merkez var mı? Yani bu Çerkezce ve Lazca bütün literatürün, koleksiyonların bir araya getirildiği bir merkez var mı diye soruyor. Murat Bey, önce siz cevap verin isterseniz. Sesiniz
Mikrofon включить, пожалуйста.
Pardon, mikrofon açık değilmiş. Yani kastettiği tarzda bir kütüphaneye benzer şeyler var. Birincisi Kafkas Dernekleri Federasyonu var. Onun kendi yayınladığı ve kitap satış bölümünde yer alan oldukça azımsanmayacak kadar dille ilgili materyal var. Bir de KAFTAV var. Kafkas Vakfı denilen bir ayrı vakıf, fond ve bir de eğer dijitalle ilgileniyorsa bizim Çerkes çalışmaları merkezi yeni kurduğumuz Circassian Studies, onun kütüphanesinde de dijital olarak hala da yüklemeye devam ediyoruz. Bulunabilecek çok sayıda dil materyali var.
Libraries of Kafkas Associations Federation and also the Kafkas Foundation. Digitally, there are some digital books and which are still being uploaded. Lazca için.
Tabii ki bir kütüphane oluşturacak kadar Lazca kitabımız yok. Muhtemelen
First of all,
200 civarı kadar kitap var.
First of all, I should say that there are around 200 books, Laz books. So it's not enough to form a big library. But
Ve bunlar 1990 sonrası yazılmış
and
kitaplar.
these have been published, written and published from 1990s onwards.
Bunları ancak özel koleksiyonlarda bulabilirsiniz ve Laz Enstitüsü'nde elbette ki bu kitapların tamamı mevcut.
You can find them in private collections, and also there's the Laz Institute in Istanbul, and all these books are available through the Laz Institute in Istanbul.
Ayrıca bende bütün hepsinin PDF'leri var.
And also I have the PDF versions of all the books, and I can send it to you if you like. I know that you have one of Ismail's dictionaries at the British Library, because I've seen it there.
Keen on, I'm very keen on acquiring more. We've bought quite a few from Lazika as well, and from the Laz Institute.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Çok teşekkür ederim.
Thank you.
Very good that you can sort of connect, because this is of course an important issue to disseminate outside Turkey. It's really important for these peoples and also for people in academia, of course. It's really.
We have.
So, shall we continue with your presentation, Eylem, or
Sure,
I think, and then we can return to more questions.
Sure.
Sound like a good plan? Okay.
We have actually established both the Laz-Circassian Publication House and also the Laz Institute, and we have everything, and we would be very, very interested in sending books and publications to the British Library, certainly. We have quite a lot to share with you. Thank you. Now, okay, for those of you who have joined us later on, I am Eylem Bostanci. I'm the project coordinator of the Laz-Circassian Civil Society Network project, and I'll be sharing a screen with you. Bear with me a minute, please. I don't know if you can see my screen at the moment, but okay, great, thank you. Now, Laz-Circassian Civil Society Network project is a European Union funded project. Laz Institute was the co-applicant to this project. Sorry, was the main applicant of the project, and İstanbul Kafkas Kültür Derneği, İstanbul Caucasian Culture Association was a co-applicant. The project has started in July 2020, and it was a 3-year project, and we're in the second year of the project. So there are actually 2 overall objectives of the project. The first is that the Laz and Circassian languages to be out of UNESCO's list of endangered languages, which is obviously a very long-term objective, and also to ensure the participation, representation, and inclusion of linguistic minority groups in advocacy for promotion of fundamental linguistic rights in Turkey and also around the world. Now, as a part of this project, we have previously our intention in this project was to mainly promote the Laz and Circassian languages, but it has evolved into something more significant in that we have established the TADNET, which is the Endangered Languages Network. And this is a part of the Laz-Circassian Civil Society Network project as well. And within this TADNET network, we have NGOs and activists in Turkey that belong to the following languages in Turkey, endangered languages in Turkey. Apart from Laz and Circassian, we have Abkhazian, Caucasian, Georgian, Hemshin, Ladino, which is Judeo-Spanish, Pomak, Romaica, Romani, Syriac, and Zaza. And the first thing we've done was, obviously, after the establishment meetings, we have established the social media accounts. So these are our social media accounts where you can follow all our activities. And this is our, now this is something we're using at the moment when we have promotional bags, etc., which is a time clock with all the 12 languages, endangered languages that we are covering. Okay, now we've conducted a lot of activities, joint activities. Among them was a endangered languages calendar. In this endangered languages calendar, what we did was for 12 languages, we've allocated 1 page for 12 months, and we wrote the names of the months in each of these languages, 1 bold in each language, and 1 saying in those languages, famous or local sayings in these languages. Wait, now I'm using 2. Wait there. Sorry, let me just do this. Okay. So another thing. Okay. Now we've also jointly we did a lot of work such as videos and posters. And for example, this one here is our New Year message video in different endangered languages. For example, this pretty little girl here gives a New Year message in her own native Hemshin language. And this is the poster for our 21st of February World Mother Language Day. Within the context of this day, what we've done is we've actually prepared an event where the speakers of different languages have spoken about their own languages, and we had a mini concert. We had some tastes from our own cuisines, and we have also voiced our concerns about the endangerment of our languages. Now, what we've also done is, apart from the 21st of February, we have actually made different videos and posters in different languages for special days. For example, here we've got 8th of March, International Women's Day. So our slogan here was Women of the World Unite in different endangered languages. And of course, we have also done a Zoom webinar event where women from different endangered languages came together to speak about their languages, and also what their experiences are as women of Circassia or women, Laz women, Zaza women, etc. And now we also, as I said before, launch some posters as such, for example, but we always state out the word mother language, because this is our purpose. For example, here it says Happy Mother's Day, and may our mother languages live forever, because it's your mother language. So, and this is mother in different languages again. So in here, this is a message launched for St. Valentine's Day. And in here, it says, I love you in all these different languages. And our message here is, love is beautiful in your mother language. We launch language cards in each of endangered languages every day. We mainly use Instagram account for this. For example, here you can see Circassian, yesterday, in Hemshin honey, and like, for example, Pomak. Syriac, it says storm. So we launch these language cards every day in different languages. We also do a lot of events. For example, here we've got I'm telling tales in my mother tongue evenings. What happened was a training has been organized for people to learn about how to tell a story or tale in their own mother language. And at the end of these trainings, we came together, these people, the attendants came together to tell a tale in their own language. And this was the poster for the event. And very soon, we'll have a very big Tales in Endangered Languages festival, and where people will be telling stories and tales in their own languages. We also have another activity. We are actually reaching out to different NGOs and academics around the world who are dealing in the field of endangered languages around the world. And we had webinars with many academics and NGOs and activists around the world. For example, this one here is with Miriam Yatarko. She's a social linguist and expert in bilingualism. And she spoke to us about language diversity at risk and communities of speakers at risk. And she's from Peru. And for example, another one was, we had Professor Thomas Wescher from Poland, and he spoke to us about the heritage languages of Poland. Another one I can show you is Dr. Marco Tamburelli. He's from Wales, from the Bangor University in Wales, and he spoke to us about contested languages, challenges and opportunities. The last activity we've conducted this activity last year as well, digital activism, because digital activism is currently very, very important in terms of reaching out to the people, not only in Turkey, but all around the world, because we consider that our struggle in terms of saving endangered languages is very mutual, and we should be in solidarity with each other. So in this context, we are actually establishing corporations with different NGOs around the world. So within this context, within language rights-based digital activism webinars, we had academics and experts in the area. For example, well, only yesterday we had Dr. Monica Ward from the Dublin City University. She spoke to us about this is within the context of language rights-based digital activism webinars. Computer-assisted language learning for endangered languages. And then we had Whose Knowledge Society. They spoke to us about towards a multilingual internet. Well, I'll show you two more. We had from the Cambridge University, we had Dr. Oliver Mayo. He spoke to us about what's the role of internet in language revitalization. And as the last part of our seminar, this evening we will have Dr. Anna Blue. She's from the Endangered Languages Project, and she'll be talking to us about digital gathering spaces for sharing knowledge in language revitalization and activism. So you see, we bring it together people, activists, and academics to speak to us, and we also attend to different events and sign agreements, partnership agreements to achieve our ambition. Now, sorry. Okay. So, all right. We also have had series of online Laz and Circassian language courses. Because due to the COVID-19, impact of COVID-19, we couldn't do face-to-face lessons, but in fact, this has been a major advantage because many people were interested, and it was very surprising to see so many people joining to these online classes. And what was good was that people didn't leave. They've completed the whole course. And we had, let me clarify something with İsmail. İsmail, kaç tane Lazca ders açıldı online olarak? Kaç öğretmen vardı? We had five different teachers teaching the Laz language, for example. Now, we also had elective native tongue lessons campaigns, as we had mentioned earlier today. The Ministry of, well, children in the years 5, 6, 7, and 8 years of the secondary schools, the students have the option of electing these languages, Laz, Circassian, Apas, Georgian, and Zaza languages at the secondary schools. So we have, in the last 2 years, we have been launching, publishing videos and posters in order to call students and parents to choose these languages as elective lessons at schools. Now, we also have teachers training courses. Of course, it's good to launch all these posters and videos, etc. But at the end of the day, if you don't have enough teachers to teach these languages, it's nothing really, because you have to have people to teach these languages, but how? So we have, well, we're going to do this for the Circassian language as well, but for the Laz language, we made protocol with the Turkish Ministry of Education to train teachers of Laz at the ministry affiliated secondary schools in Turkey. So the same will be done for Circassian. For example, very soon, from the 13th of May onwards, we will have Laz training courses for teachers who are currently employed at the Ministry of Education affiliated schools. So apart from this, we've conducted a lot of activities, but because of the time restraint at the moment here, I can't name all of them, but what I can say is that the examples of future events that we will be holding will be International Caucasian Languages Conference and Endangered Languages Symposium in June 2022 in Istanbul, where academics around the world who are exposed in the areas of Caucasian languages and endangered languages will be invited. Okay. And also we will be publishing Endangered Languages report in order to report the current status of the endangered languages in Turkey and offer recommendations of action. We will have language maps of Laz and Circassian languages to locate where these languages are spoken and the population of the speakers. And we'll have Laz and Circassian audio dictionaries, vocal dictionaries, which will be accessible through online. We'll also have youth camp where young speakers of Laz and Circassian will come together to meet each other and to speak about their languages. Oops. So we'll develop a high number of teaching materials, books and online materials, videos and podcasts. And we'll have further elected mother tongue campaigns and teachers trainings. And we'll, of course, do advocacy and lobbying activities with the national and local government bodies and local and national, and international organizations. If you have any questions, you could ask me, but before that, I would actually like to show you one short video that we had prepared within the context of the Endangered Languages Network, TADNET. So let me open this 4 minutes video. İsmail, şuradaki videoyu açar mısın? Şuradan. Sorry. Var. Şurada linki var. Bu bizim videomuz.
Şu.
Hı -hı.
Burada video yok.
Şurada. Al bunu. Sorry. Because we're using 2 different computers, it's okay. So we need to share this. Can you see it?
Їхня сіпслами візетим, відсику газишетим, dünya boyu
Яшта таалшклаҵаҟа ашәыра дыҵатәаны аҩсшәа маақәа иҵахуан. Иԥрызаҵә Ҭемыр иакәын иззиӡахуазгьы.
Ezmojebzi İsmail. Tamakto koşum zadon çakı kelat go mituçya mavule beşkinmi. Sene mati meftah mavut. Ablaşı koga makbet na ranga de gogoludu kola. Namion di mati meftah. Namion di mati meftah. Ahana naskan hayon go tu ko morto. Mama wadina. Be mama wadina madam di satedi.
Okay, so this was a video prepared by us, and this is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much for this very interesting presentation. I mean, and such a good illustration at the end. You make such a huge and impressive work in your project, and in very diverse areas. So yes, the floor is open. So you are very welcome to pose questions, and we can sort of continue our discussion. We have already started it.
Okay, dear Karina.
Yes.
It seems it is a good experience for only in Laz-Circassian direction, but we know many other Caucasian languages are also in Turkey represented as Dagestanian languages, as Waynak, Chechen, and Ingush, and what you are going around for these languages. Are you covering these languages also in future?
Başka diller de var, Çeçen dili gibi mesela. Siz onlar için ne yapıyorsunuz gelecekleri için diye soruyor. Murat Bey cevap versin bence.
Evet, ben cevap vereyim. Yani Kafkas dilleriyle genelde ben ilgileniyorum proje kapsamında.
I am dealing with the Caucasian languages generally within the project, Murat says.
Türkiye'de konuşulan Kafkas dilleri içinde evet, Dağıstan dilleri var. Avarca ve Lezgice, Çeçen İnguş dilleri var, Osetçe var. Kafkas dili değil ama.
Within the, well, in Turkey, there are other Caucasian languages, for example, Chechen, although Osset is not a Caucasian, well, language of Caucasian, there are other languages in Turkey, spoken in Turkey too.
Ancak bu dilleri konuşanların sayısı hem çok az ve asıl sorun TADNET bünyesinde bu dilleri temsil edecek kişi bulmakta zorlanıyoruz.
However, the number of people who speak these languages is very little in Turkey, and more importantly, within TADNET, we are having difficulties in finding people who can represent these languages.
Yani Türkiye'de bu dillerle ilgili hem akademik çalışma yapanların sayısı çok az, hatta yok denebilir. Ya da kendilerinin örgütlü yapıları ya yok ya çok zayıf ve bunlar da genelde dille uğraşmak yerine daha politikayı seviyorlar.
Okay. Now, Murat says that these people who deal with, well, people rather deal with politics than deal with academic sides of things, and also they're not organized. They don't have organizations, so therefore it's difficult to deal with these languages.
Thank you. And what about revitalization of one more Circassian language in Turkey, Uzbekyan language? It is possible or impossible?
Ubukçayı canlandırma konusu.
Evet.
Impossible. O artık ölü bir dil ve yeniden mümkün değil. Zaten yaşayan şu andaki dilleri yaşatmakta çok zorlanıyoruz. Dolayısıyla Ubukça ile uğraşmak biraz ütopik olur bizim için. Fantastik diyelim.
We're already, he says, we're already having difficulty in revitalization of existing languages, living languages, and it would be a bit fantastic to revitalize Ubuk.
Yes, I would like to also.
Ne dedi? Pardon, anlamadım.
Ben isterdim diyor.
Yani biz de isterdik ama maalesef.
We very much want it, but.
Thank you.
I was wondering, you have so many interesting areas, really broad area of activities, but one specific area, I mean, to develop bilingualism should, of course, be the goal here, because all speakers in Turkey need to know Turkish, of course, but you also need to know be fluent in your sort of heritage language, or home language, or mother tongue, or what you would like to call it. But what about the area of preschool activities? I mean, kindergartens and things like that, when you don't need to have such a focus on the written language. And these children are young enough to sort of, in a natural area, to develop fluency in the language, not sort of a formal setting. Do you try to go into that as well with Circassians or Laz or whatever?
Okay. Diyor ki şimdi tabii çift dillilik önemli bir şey diyor. Her ne kadar daha sonraki yıllarda zor olsa da diyor, okul öncesi eğitim de belki daha şey olabilir. Hani çünkü bunlar okumayı da bilmiyorlar daha vesaire. Okul öncesi eğitim konusunda Lazca ve Çerkez dillerinde ne düşünüyorsunuz diyor.
Önce ben mi söyleyeyim yine? Şimdi tabii dil öğreniminde ne kadar erken yaşta başlanırsa bu kadar kolay ve çabuk öğrenilir. Yani bunu biliyoruz.
Of course, we know that the sooner you start a child learns their language, the better. We know that.
Bununla ilgili birinci sorun, Türkiye'de hala yasaklar kalkmış olmasına rağmen çocukların dil öğrenimine yönelik bir destek yok.
The first problem is that although the bans on the languages have been lifted, the main problem is that the language learning of children are not supported.
Bunu ancak dernekler yapabiliyor. Yani kendi bünyelerinde çocuklar için bu tür sınıflar oluşturuyorlar. Son yıllarda örnekleri artmaya başladı bunun.
Only the associations are able to do this. What they do in the later years, we've seen the examples of classes formed by associations for peer school children.
Ve diğer büyük sorunumuz daha önce de bahsedildiği gibi anne babaların bu dillerin çocukların öğrenmesine yönelik olarak bir taleplerinin olmaması. Yani bunu gerekli görmemeleri.
Another big problem is that parents really don't feel necessary for their children to learn these languages.
Unfortunately, that is a problem that you encounter in so many places. And, well, I understand that very well, and it's a common problem, and really an educational problem for parents to understand these issues and to understand that bilingualism is a natural situation, of course, when you look at most societies in the world. So.
Aslında ebeveynlerin çift dilliliğin çok doğal bir süreç olduğunu anlaması gerekiyor diyor. Ama tabii dediğiniz şeyler karşılaşılan problemler diyor.
Evet.
Oh, thank you. Well, other questions or comments or ideas, or so please take the opportunity. Okay, so I will, while you are thinking, I will continue then. I have as the languages are endangered and they are vanishing and spoken by the older generation, these are sort of the most fluent speakers. Do you involve in documentation of the languages and dialects as well?
Bu diller artık yok oluyorlar. Evet, yani yaşlılar konuşuyorlar bu dilleri. Peki bu dillerin dokümantasyonuyla ilgileniyor musunuz diye soruyor.
İsmail anlattı epeyce. Michael sormuştu. Biraz daha açarak ben söyleyeyim. Yani dokümantasyonuyla özellikle ilgileniyoruz tabii ki dijital olarak.
Michael asked this question, but I would like to elaborate on this. Yes, we do have interest on documentation of our language, digital documentation.
Şimdi linkini paylaştığım bir site var. Çerkes Çalışmaları Merkezi, Center of Circassian Studies.
This link I've shared through chat is the link for Circassian Study Center.
Yeni kurulan bir yapı bu resmi olarak.
Established recently.
Yani buranın library'sinde çok geniş bir dil üzerine dijital dokumentasyon yapmayı planlıyoruz. Zaten yapmaya başladık. Şu anda 300 civarında kitap var.
Library of this center, we are thinking of having a large documentation, and we've already started, and there are more than 300 books here, digital books here.
Bunun dışında ortak projemizden de bahsedebiliriz. Proje kapsamında hazırlayacağımız siteler var. Bunlardan biri de dil dokümantasyonu.
Dil?
Yani sesli sözlük ve dil öğrenmeye yönelik siteler olacak. Burada da bir dokümantasyon olacak.
Okay. We will also have different websites. We will have online learning materials as well for documentation. Ismail wants to say a few things about language documentation in the Laz language.
Bu arada kitapların taranarak dijital hale getirilmesi projesi yürütenler de var.
Also, there are people who are running projects in order to scan books and for them to become digital.
Evet, yani şimdi Lazca gibi diller Türkiye'de konuşulan aslında hepsinin benzer durumları var.
Well, the endangered languages in Turkey have similar circumstances.
Türkiye'de Lazca üzerine bu 2000 yılına kadar hiçbir dokümantasyon çalışması yapılmamıştı.
Until the year 2000, there were no documentation studies conducted on the Laz language.
Dokümantasyon derken işte Lazca konuşan insanlardan farklı konularda derleme yapmak, bunları kayda geçirmeyi.
When we say documentary studies, what we mean is collecting information from the speakers of this language, collecting data, sounds, etc.
Yani biz Lazca gibi tehlike altındaki bir dilin yaşaması, var olması için uğraşıyoruz ve aslında yapılması gereken şeyleri biliyoruz.
We are working towards the revitalization of the Laz language, and more or less we know what needs to be done to reach to this ambition.
Ama bütün bunları yapmak ne yazık ki çok kolay değil.
However, unfortunately, it's not too easy to do all this.
2010-2011 yılında Max Planck Üniversitesi'nden bir doktor yaklaşık 250 saatlik bir Lazca kayıt yaptı ve
A doctor from the Max Planck University has
René Lacroix
has conducted
250 saat.
Around 250 hours of recordings collection of the Laz language. It's available in the SOAS system, SOAS University of London collection at the moment.
Bunun dışında benim yaptığım kısmen internette yayınlanan dokümantasyon çalışmaları var.
Also, through the internet, you can. It's present through YouTube and through online. It can. The studies I've conducted, documentary studies that I've conducted, is accessible.
Ama bu yeterli değil elbette.
However, it's not sufficient, of course.
Lazca'nın içine girdikçe ne kadar kapsamlı, derin ve zengin bir şeyle karşı karşıya olduğumuzu fark ediyoruz.
Whilst working on the Laz language, we become aware, more and more aware, what a diverse and rich language it is.
Ve dokümantasyon konusunda hazırladığımız birkaç proje var ama ne yazık ki bunu gerçekleştiremedik.
Several projects on the documentation of the Laz language. I should add that we have projects to conduct a documentation of Laz language and Laz cultural heritage. However, so far we have not been able to conduct these studies, but it is one of our projects.
Ama bunu yapmamız için sanırım son 10 yıl.
But he says, I think we have maybe just a decade more to conduct such a study.
Bunun yanı sıra Gürcistan'da 20. yüzyıl boyunca yapılmış, özellikle Lazca'nın doğu şivesi üzerine yapılmış çok sayıda çalışma var.
Apart from that, there are studies conducted in Georgia, especially on the Hopa dialect of Laz. Many studies conducted.
Bunları zaten biliyorsunuz.
Of course, you're aware of these, all these studies. Yeah, but in short, yes, we did do some documentary studies on the Laz language, but there's a lot more to be conducted.
Of course, these are very complex tasks, and documenting has to be done in a good way, a proper way. So these are like serious research projects in itself. So it's very very interesting information, and I think it would be very, very useful when you think about the sort of international contacts and contacts with the academia, that you also develop the website in English.
Yeah.
It is, having a website is always a big task, and you have to put a lot of energy into it. But it would be very, very helpful to be able to see all your different activities and to have access to it if you do that in English as well. I suppose that is coming, but yeah.
It is actually, yes. We are very much aware that staying local is not a solution. You have to expand, you have to have everything in the English language as well. And in fact, everything we're doing at the moment, we're translating. At least we're putting subtitles. And yes, we are going to do everything in our website in English as well. There will be an English part of the websites as well. And I would like to add that this TADNET project is the first in Turkey. It's the first time that so many endangered language groups have come together and we've started doing mutual work together. It's the first time, and therefore it's very precious actually, because before this, nothing has been done.
Oh, it's very interesting, very impressive. So, yeah, people should know about it. Well, we talk about doing it in English, but on the other side, I mean, Russian is also a language that is very important in this respect when we talk about the Circassian part, of course. So it's a tricky situation. So please, any other comments or questions from Larissa, from Michael, Murat? Do you have more?
Inside of one project, it has been done a very good job, I see. And my congratulations to this team. And also, if we can, we will support it in Georgia also, because in Circassian direction, we have some achievements also at our center, and Larissa is one more promoted teacher who is teaching and studying Circassian language.
Anladığı çalışmalar yapıyor Çerkez dili üzerine. Öğretiliyor Çerkezce'de diyor.
Üzerine var mı?
Are there any studies in the as well?
Sorry, I don't speak English very well. Спасибо большое.
In Circassian, and then Murat will translate it in English, Turkish.
Okay, да. Зачемит хайгапсо ясо непэ лъэшо гъэшӏэгъоныгъэ презентациер ар адыгабзэм мышты зэрэпылъхэмкӏэ лъэшэу сигуап сыда пӏомэ мэхьанэшхо иӏэба джырэ уахътэмкӏэ итӏанэ Ismail марык тигъэлъэгъугъ тхылъхэр арба лазбзэм ехьылӏагъэу тхылъ пчъагъэхэр ятӏонэрэ ящэнэрэ яплӏэнэрэ илъэгапӏэхэр иӏэхэу Мурат сэ сиупчӏэу ащ фэдэу адыгабзэм пае гъэхьазырыгъэу зыгорэ щыӏа джащтэ лъэгапӏэ зэтеутыгъэу адыгабзэмкӏэ режьыгъаджэхэу Тыркуем тхылъхэр Türküyem şu adıgabzıcı yaşoğacıkas.
Önce herhalde çevirmem gerek. Genel olarak işte Lazca için İsmail'in çok sayıda kitap, doküman gösterdiğini, benzer şeylerin Türkiye'de olup olmadığını soruyor. İstersen Eylem Hanım soruyu bir aktarın ya da cevap vereyim mi? Ondan sonra.
Ver Murat.
Şimdi Türkiye'de maalesef bu tür materyal üretecek çok fazla uzman yok. Ama yapılmış olan 4 ciltlik, yani şu anda okullarda 4 sınıfta okutulan Türkiye'de hazırlanmış 4 kitap var.
There aren't experts who can develop such big materials in these languages, but there are 4 books study books to be taught at schools.
Onun dışında derneklerde kurs veren öğretmenlerin kendi ders notlarını kitap haline getiriyorlar bazen. O şekilde hazırlanmış 5-6 kitap da var.
Also, some teachers who are giving Circassian language courses actually compiling their own notes into books, and there are 4 or 5 books like this, composed of notes, their own notes.
Bir de bu tür materyalleri daha çok uzun yıllardır, yani aslen Aykoplu ya da Nalçikli, yani oralı, Kafkasyalı olup evlenip Türkiye'de uzun yıllardır yaşayan, Türkçe'de öğrenmiş olan kişiler hazırlıyor ve şu anda yayına hazırlanan bir gramer kitabı olduğunu biliyorum.
Also, there are people who come from Caucasia, they got married here, and they are preparing books as well. I know that there are 4 or 5 books prepared like this.
Ve kendi sözlüğümden de ayıp olmazsa bahsedeyim.
Also, I'd like to mention about my own dictionary, says Murat.
Türkiye'de Türk Dil Kurumu diye büyük bir kurum var.
There's an institute called Turkish Language
Association.
Foundation.
Yeni bir politika olarak Türkiye'de konuşulan dillerde sözlükler yayınlamaya başladılar.
As a new policy, they actually launching dictionaries in the languages spoken in Turkey.
Ve benim hazırladığım bir sözlük, Çerkesçe Türkçe, Türkçe Çerkesçe olmak üzere şu anda basılma hazırlığında.
It's ready to be published by this foundation. It's Circassian, from Circassian to Turkish and Turkish to Circassian.
Genel olarak bunlardan bahsedilebilir.
Generally, these are the things I can say.
Birkaç bir şey söyleyeyim.
Ismail wants to say a few things.
Türkiye dışındaki yayınlar, Türkiye'deki gayrimüslimler, yani Rumlar, gayrimüslim döneminde azınlık, Ermeniler ve Yahudilerin bu konuda sayıda yayınları var.
Okay, the minorities in Turkey, the people who are considered as minorities in Turkey, which are the Armenians, the Greeks, and the Jews, they have a very established and a large number of literary materials.
Ama onun dışındakilerin tamamı 90'lardan sonra yayınlar yapmaya
But
başladı.
however, the rest have started publishing from the 1990s onwards.
Kürtler bu konuda çok önde.
Of course, the Kurds are very much advanced in comparison to us.
Çerkezlerin çok özel bir yeri var çünkü baştan beri çok farkındaydılar bu işlerde.
Circassians have a different place, a special place here because right from the start they were very much aware of their identity.
Evet, Osmanlı'nın son döneminde okulları da vardı İstanbul'da.
And in fact, they had schools in the last period of the Ottoman Empire.
Çerkezler, Lazlar ve esas olarak Zazalar, yani bunların 90'lardan sonra artan bir yayınlarından bahsetmek mümkün.
It's possible to mention about the publications made on the Laz-Circassian and the Zaza languages from the 1990s onwards.
Süryaniler var ve bunların
There are also
binlerce
Syriacs,
yıllık eserleri
and
var.
of course they have thousands years old literature.
Ama esas problem bu yayınların ne kadar okunduğu ya da ulaşılabildiği.
However, the main problem is that how much of these books are read and how accessible they are.
Thank you so much. A lot of very sort of interesting information from different, time flies when you are in interesting company. And I can see now that we are already a couple of minutes after the hour when we were supposed to stop. So I've enjoyed this very much. I'm sure that we all have, and it was good to see you. And let's keep in touch. I mean, we have, I think, a lot of things to continue discussing, a lot of common interests and goals. And
Karina, можно
I
я
know, good to see you just here at the end of the seminar.
Well, it was
Thank you all and a special. It's really a very tough thing to be an interpreter for 2 hours.
yes.
That is really not an easy task. You've done so beautifully. So thank you for that also.
Interpreter and presenter. Exactly. Well, it was very good course. So,
so good luck in your work, and I
and
hope to
it
see you
was
soon
very
again.
nice to be with you. And thank you again for having us. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And let's be in contact, please. And
You can go back. Okay, so again, thank you so much.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks.
I wish,